Okay, so now we're in the third stage, which is writing the offer. Very important, as you might imagine. What you're going to want to do is, once you found the property you like using the steps in the first and second videos, is look at the comps with your agent and discuss what a probable market value will be. Typically try to get that between a 2% range or so. For example, between 495 and 505, let's say. And the way you're going to do that is by looking at the comps in the last 6 months or so. You're going to want to be a little loose on that criteria and the time frame, because all the markets are different depending on which subdivision you're looking in, which area of the city you're looking in. There may be a lot of comps and you can cut down that time frame to get the most recent ones, or just a few and you'll have to enlarge that time frame. Another thing is you will have to adjust for the market conditions. For example, if you're in a rapidly changing market, whether it's going up or down, you're going to want to adjust for that. So using the comp sheets, you're going to want to look at the specifications that are marked on there for the best comps. Typically between 3 and 5 is a good number if you can find it. You can find 3 or 5 good comps. And you're going to want to drive by the properties and take a note as to the location more than anything, and compared to the subject property that you're going to be pursuing. Because if it has a premium location, then, and yours doesn't, the one you're going to be pursuing doesn't, then you're going to want to adjust down on that market value. The next step you're going to take is have your agent take a look at the tax info, aka mortgage history. Sometimes they're related, sometimes they're not. So what you really care about in this step is the mortgage history. Now the reason being is, typically, as a general rule of thumb, the more equity there is in a property, the more room for negotiation there is. If somebody owes $450,000 on a property and they have it listed for, let's say, $475 after commissions and closing costs, there won't be much wiggle room there, and they'll have to short sell it. And most people prefer not to do that, so they may not even be willing to sell because of that, if they're going to have to pay out of their pockets, for example. Then what you're going to want to do is, once you have the set market price, you're going to want to decide what your maximum price for the property is. And usually, the vast majority of the time, that's going to be lower than the market price that you've conjured up for the property. So with that in mind, you're going to want to start low. I typically recommend coming in 10% below that market value that you've decided on with your agent on your pursued property. There are some exceptions to this rule. For example, a booming market, you're going to have to give a little on that if you truly want the property, because if things are going up like crazy and there's no end in sight, like so it seemed back in 2003, 2004, and early 2005, then you're going to want to make some modifications to that. Another exception is distress sales. Sometimes these distress sales, short sales, and foreclosures are going to be priced so aggressively that if you come in even at list price, you may not even be considered for the property, because there's just so many offers that come in. And some of them, when you look at the comps, you'll see they come in at below market value. So with that in mind, that's a clue. Hey, you're going to want to come in above list price, and you're going to want to do a lot of research, maybe see the lender's history, have the agent look up the lender's history with their short sales and foreclosures to see if that is a common thread among the lender's assets. So that's one thing you're going to want to do with your agent. You're going to want to be flexible on the terms. I highly recommend you put seller's choice, the 2 magic words, seller's choice, on as many of the offer terms as possible. What you want to bargain hard on is price, and the reason for that is 6 months from now, it won't really matter what the terms were, who the escrow company that you used was, which title company you used. That doesn't really matter 6 months down the road. What does matter is the price more than anything. And as a result, take price, give terms is my advice to you. Regarding the home warranty situation, on the California agreement, for example, the residential purchase agreement, there is a slot there for requesting a 1-year home warranty. Now what I typically do with my clients is I request a $400 credit for the home warranty. And what that means is the seller at the close of escrow will account for $400 and take that out of the seller's proceeds, and they will use that to pay for the home warranty. I'm not a big fan of home warranties. The reason being is I find that barely any of my clients use it, and if you read the fine print on them, you'll see, unfortunately, the list of exclusions is so long, and I have a bad feeling about those companies that exclude everything. So what I do with my clients is I tell the listing agent before the removal of contingencies, I say, hey, listen, we want to, instead of getting a home warranty, we want to, instead of you guys paying for that, we want that money as a credit to the buyer's closing costs. And usually they don't really care. If they already agreed to it, the money's coming out, they don't really care where it goes. And so I recommend you do that right after the request for repair and typically before the removal of contingencies.